Excellent Eggs with Michelle Spurgin and Sharon Banks. And Michelle's a first grade teacher at Mark Twain in Duncan, and Sharon teaches third grade with her. And I'm going to turn it over to the two of you and let you tell us all about eggs. Thank you for joining us.
So today we're presenting about eggs, ways that you can use them in your classroom through all our different subjects that we have. And we're gonna share our screens. Michelle, you wanna share the slides first and start with the first video? Anyway, we're gonna present about eggs today. And I'm gonna start with the social studies things that we can do. And I'm using one of the Ag in the Classroom lessons called Yam and Eggs that sort of as a basis. I did not use the whole thing. I kind of mix and match some stuff. And what it talks about is using, talking about breakfast and what people eat for breakfast and what they, why they eat those different things that they eat for breakfast because of the things that they have there. And so I'm going to share this little video. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. If you can't, Audrey, let me know.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
So I'm going to show you some things that I then do in that social studies with them. I have a list. Can you guys see me? Am I on the big screen?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, because I can't see me. So I have this list of different pictures of those different dishes. Not all of them were in that video, but then I've taken them and put them on cards. And I don't know if you guys can see them, but I would have them at on different tables and with what the egg dish is, and then a card on a different place of where it came from, and they would be all around the room, or each person would get one, and then they have to find their match. And then we talk about what the reasons are for different dishes around different places in the world, and the different ingredients that they have in those places, and why they would have those different ingredients if they are, they grow different things in different parts of the world. So that brings in your social studies, as well as some science in there about climates and whatnot. And it's an interactive activity the kids can do. They're moving around, they're getting, I don't know how much of that we're gonna get to do this year. But then you can go to a map of the world and find those different countries. The students can then, once they're paired up, you can use that as a research project for them to do where, you know, so this is matzah bray and it comes from Israel. So those two students would then do a research project on Israel and not just on food, but on all kinds of different things, where it is in the world, what its climate is, what things they grow, what their agricultural products are, what other things they produce in that country so that they can then learn about the different parts of the world. So great social studies there and a way to do that. And that is your social studies. Michelle, you're up.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about math today, and that's another area that you can use to teach about eggs. And if you see on your screen, which hopefully everybody, you claim you can, so hopefully you can see. We've got 3 different areas and 3 different things that you can get very cheaply, by the way, that you can use for eggs and math. We have egg cartons that you can fill with different kinds of seeds, which is a good way to tie in agriculture. I have beans and corn in this one here that you see opened. So you can use it for adding, counting. You can even do some multiplication if you wanted to with it. The middle one is a simple deviled egg container you can get at Dollar Tree, and we're doing place value. So they open each egg and they're gonna have a sheet, they're gonna write down what the amount of place value is. The other one, of course, is something you're gonna have to pick up at Easter time, and that's gonna be a chicken, and there are eggs in it, and the eggs are numbered. So once again, with this one, I can do adding, I can do subtracting, I can do multiplying. So as they draw out 2 eggs, then they're gonna mark on another sheet exactly what the answer is. Now, I know with things the way they are, with the Corona this year, you know, you may not be able to do something like this. Hopefully next year in the future, something to think about. The other thing, both of these I did this year back in March when school got shut down, and it's practicing some skip counting. So I've got some various size eggs, and I'm talking big eggs, and I laid them out in my yard, in the backyard, and I took a video. And the first one is counting by tens, what is missing? So watch really close. So we're counting by tens. Okay, so hopefully everybody caught what the missing number was. Hopefully you caught it was 60. So what I did is as I was videoing, I just skipped over one. And what I did is I posted this video. We use Class Dojo. So I posted the video to my Class Dojo, and then I had the students reply with what the missing number was. And then we also did skip counting by 5s. Once again, we have various size eggs. And hopefully if you were paying attention, you noticed our missing number in that one as well. So in a perfect world, in a perfect world, the goal was for us to do this at school and to go out on the playground, and my class would be in a line, and the first person would go out, find the number 5 egg, bring it back. Next person would go out and find the number 10 egg, bring it back. Next person would find 15, and then so on and so on. And then the very last one, if you noticed, was a really big egg. There would be a prize for the whole class in the big egg. But of course, we didn't get to do that this year. So hopefully next year, we will be allowed to do that. A good egg in the classroom lesson to go along with this one is called Egg Toss Math. And it's all kinds of different math activities you can do. If you notice in the Ag in the Classroom lesson, the past standards are over on the side because we're all about standards. And then another page that Banks is going to talk to you about in a little bit comes from a site, the American Egg Board. And this one is a little bit higher level, third, fourth grade level, 3-digit adding. And then once they add, they are going to use that up top in the puzzle as well. So a little extra, they have some really cute stuff on there, and she's going to show you a little bit about that. The next topic we're going to talk about that we can do with math. Anybody have any questions? Are we good?
We're good right now. No questions
Okay.
so far.
All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is language arts. And of course, when we talk about eggs, probably the first one that comes to mind is green eggs and ham. But that's not the one that I like to use because that's the typical. I have discovered there are a lot of different things you can do with Humpty Dumpty. So we're going to start talking about the fiction side of it. And the first one is Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, the typical nursery rhyme. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. But there are several different versions of Humpty Dumpty that expand upon the nursery rhyme. And that's what's kind of odd. It's a very simple nursery rhyme, but they've kind of taken the story and ran with it. So I want to share a video with you of a story.
Hello everyone, it's your pal Amber here. And today we're going to read Humpty Dumpty. It's a different version of Humpty Dumpty than you might be used to. So follow along. Alright. Humpty Dumpty stared at the wall, for sitting at home was no fun at all. He squirmed on the sofa and wiggled his leg. Can't be too careful when you are an egg. That's true, right? If they fell off, they would break. There's nothing to do, Humpty said with a frown. It's not fair you won't let me go into town. Said his mom, but be careful, okay? I don't want my egg getting scrambled today.
Nice pictures as well. Daniel Kirk usually does a pretty good job
Young
with that.
Humpty ran, not too fast, not too slow, but as quickly as chubby egg boys ever go. He raced to the town where King Mo's castle stood. This birthday parade was going to be good. All the king's horses and all the king's men were waiting for King Mo's parade to begin. But where was the king? He was under his bed, with his puzzles and toys. Go away, King Mo said. I can't ride a horse and the coach is too high. If I should fall off, I would probably die. I'm scared of the clowns and I hate a parade. I'd rather stay home by myself. I'm afraid. You're scared of your shadow, King Mo's mother cried. Whenever people come to visit, you hide. You're so terribly shy, you can't make a friend. Come on, have some fun. That's what I'd recommend. At the curve the crowd gathered, Humpty Dumpty was ready to enjoy the parade with his pals Ben and Teddy. Trumpets blared, bells rang out from the top of the steeple as the kids tried to see past the masses of people.
Some good rhyming as well. You can tie that in.
Help me up, pleaded Humpty. From down here I can't see. He climbed on the backs of his friends. 1, 2, 3.
And if you look close, you can
To
see a
their
wall.
shoulders he climbed with a huff and a puff. But though taller, he still wasn't quite tall enough. A lamppost, he cried as he twisted a shoe. From up there I get a spectacular view. The jugglers were juggling, the baton twirlers twirled, but King Mo, the most timid boy in the world, looked pale as he groaned. It's a curse being king. I can't find a seatbelt to wear in this thing. Poor guy, he's having so many problems. A policeman saw Humpty and yelled, "Come on down. We don't allow climbing on poles in this town." Humpty slid down the lamppost. "That's all right," he said. "I think I'll climb up on that brick wall instead."
So they're tying in the nursery rhyme.
Mo waved from the window. The townspeople cheered.
There he is on the
At
wall.
the top of the wall, Humpty Dumpty appeared. Mo hollered, "Look, Mother, it's up on the wall. If that egg isn't careful, he's going to fall." "Happy birthday, King Mo," Humpty started to yell. It was then that the egg lost his footing and fell. He flipped through the air and then in a flash, tore straight through the roof of the coach with a crash.
So a little different as
All
to
the
how he
king's
fell.
horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Mo picked up some shell and started to cry. Then his mother whispered, "Dear, why don't you give a try? It's just like a puzzle," she said with a wink. The king set to work. "I can do it, I think." Mo patched up the egg. Humpty looked good as new, except for his nose and a bandage or two. "You're clever," said Humpty. "You're brave," said the king. "Though fragile and round, you will try anything." "How you fixed me," said Humpty, "I don't have a clue. I wish I were thoughtful and patient like you." "I'm an egg. You're a king. What do you say? Would you like to come over to my house and play?" "May I go?" pleaded Mo. "Oh, Mother, say yes." "Absolutely," she smiled. "Humpty, what's your address?" The boys climbed on top of the carriage to ride. "Hooray! It's my best birthday ever!" Mo cried. To the house of the egg, the parade made its way, and King Mo and Humpty are friends to this day.
So as you can see, they took and they twisted it because the nursery rhyme only says all the king's horses and all the king's men. The nursery rhyme doesn't say anything about the king being able to put him together again. So that's a nice story to where you get a little twist and it makes the kids think about the nursery rhyme. So I also have several other books that you might want to add. There's Humpty Dumpty Egg-Splodes, Humpty Dumpty Climbs Again, where we have Humpty in his underwear. That's always a good one the kids like. Humpty Dumpty, where he winds up cracking in the end and turning into hatching out into a bird and flies away. Definitely another twist to the story. And then, of course, there's After the Fall, How Humpty Dumpty Got Back Up Again. That's a good one. This one I actually got at Kohl's. They do their, Kohl's Kids Care, and you got the plush with the book as well. And then this was a good one that the kids like as well, called Humpty Dumpty, the story of Humpty's little sister. And the story is, Humpty Dumpty was a bad, mischievous little egg and liked to go out late at night and spray paint walls. But his sister was very quiet and meek and wound up having to help save him after the fall. So this is another one that's a good twist on the story as well. So along with not only reading fiction stories about Humpty Dumpty, you can tie in some art and some STEM as well. So if you happen to have a piece of paper and a pen, you can join in and doing this as well. It's a very simple art activity. And it's going to tie into our STEM. So hopefully you can see here, I have a white egg here in my hand. And I got these at Hobby Lobby this year, really cheap. They were like 10 cents for a whole package because nobody got to do Easter this year. So they were 10 cents for a whole package of 12. And I'm using white eggs because we talk a lot about being agriculture accurate. So that's why I'm using white. So we're trying to stay as true to agriculture and not hot pink or purple or camouflage. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our egg or your piece of paper. We're gonna do 2 simple little dots for his eyes. Very simple. We're gonna draw a nose. Can you see?
Yes,
Okay.
we can see.
So we have a mouth, we have a nose, oh, we have a mouth. We're gonna draw a mouth.
Yep.
Okay. Now, the next part of this, it depends. If you have the eggs, you're not gonna need to draw a circle across the top to make the frame of the egg, or a circle across the bottom to make the bottom of the egg. But if you're using eggs, you're going to attempt to make it look like he has on pants. So we're gonna make him a collar. It's kind of a little, long little rectangle there. And out to the side. We're drawing him, and I'll turn here and show you. We're drawing some arms and a hand on either side. And then we're gonna draw him some legs. Hold this up here so you can see his legs there. And yes, right now it looks like he's got on underwear like he's Captain Underpants, kind of reminds me of. We got some legs. So right now, this is what Humpty looks like. Once again, it should look like Humpty because in all the stories, they typically make Humpty Dumpty a white egg. Next, we're gonna draw some little lines to finish out his pants so he's not wearing underwear. Okay, so he doesn't look like Captain Underpants anymore. And then if you want to get really creative, and if you're really good and talented, this is where teachers often kind of like that. You can add a bow tie to the middle, which that one's kind of pitiful, but you can add a bow tie to the middle. So now you actually have a Humpty egg, okay? So now that you've done the art end of it, now you're going to tie in the stem of it. And so the stem lesson is going to be how to save Humpty Dumpty.
So Michelle, if they're doing it on paper, would it look something like that?
Yes, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Very good. Yes, if you're a teacher, good luck, because you know some of us are not very artistic, so you may butcher him. So the STEM lesson we're going to do is called, I call it Saving Humpty. And if you notice on the screen, oh, and by the way, the directions to the drawing lesson are in the handouts, because we have handouts as well. So all the directions to this are in the handouts. And also the STEM lesson is in there as well. Now you notice Humpty is laying on an egg crate, a piece of an egg crate that you might lay on a bed to make the bed more comfortable. The objective for the STEM lesson is they're going to take, after they've got their Humpty drawn, they're going to have to design a way to save Humpty. So this may be putting him on an egg crate. You notice it could be attaching feathers to him. Putting a saran wrap around him with marshmallows in it. And they're also going to test it out to see what happens. Now, once again, we're using plastic eggs. If you want to be really brave and use real eggs, feel free. I would not. I would just use plastic eggs. That would be enough. They're also going to need to build a wall, or you can just use a bookcase or something they can drop the egg off of and test it out. And you notice I've included a page of their prediction. Is he going to stay whole or crack? Then after they've done it, then they'll record what theirs is. Now on this, it already has some materials. You may want to mark those out and leave it blank, depending on what kind of materials you're using. But this kind of at least gives you an idea. They got bubble wrap, beans, marbles. Even too, now would be a good time if you wanted to go buy pool noodles. And you could even cut up pool noodles and use those as a way for them to save Humpty if you wanted to. So like I said, now's the best time to go find eggs. I would I would use white. I mean, I bought several packages, like, 12, 14 of them to save up for future so that we can do that. But that's a good STEM activity that you can use to tie in with your art. So you're getting multiple areas tied into just one brief little lesson on Humpty Dumpty. Plus, who doesn't like Humpty Dumpty? The next slide, and I had to show you this because this is a puzzle I found because, all of us are sitting at home and doing a lot of Amazon, eBay, and just, looking around. Well, I found this puzzle and I thought it was super cute. If you notice, the puzzle says, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty together again, but look at the very bottom one. It actually shows Humpty Dumpty splutted on the ground like a real egg would be. So you can tie that into, okay, in the story, the majority of the stories that you read, he still looks like an egg. He's just cracked a little bit. But if you truly crack an egg, what's going to happen? It's going to splut. It's going to make a mess if it's not cooked. So you can tie in that piece as well. Either a raw egg, what's going to happen, versus a cooked egg. Another STEM idea that you can try if you feel free and you feel you want to split eggs, then, that would be a good one. There's also, I discovered, a Humpty Dumpty magazine that you can order if you wanted to for your classroom. That there's a lot of pictures of Humpty Dumpty in it. It's pretty cute. It's bi-monthly and it's like $10 for the year. So, and I happened to discover this one and I thought, well, that's actually kind of cute. I'd never heard of it before, but it was a good tie-in. And let's see, I'm gonna get off this and I'm gonna show you something else real quick. So if we would have been in person, we would have had door prizes because we like to give away door prizes, but we're not. One of the door prizes we were going to give away were these.
And Michelle finds the best stuff.
And they're actually Humpty Dumpty chips. Okay, and here he is here on the back. Let's see if I can get up close there. See him right there on the back. He's giving his guarantee that you will love them, you will like them. So these you actually can order off Amazon, or they actually come from the state of Maine, from a company called Box of Maine. And you can order a whole box, and there's like 30 in a box. But I thought, oh my gosh, that would be so cute. And we were going to use those for a giveaway prize because we thought, hey, that would be cute. So that takes care of fiction. But there's also nonfiction. And once again, I have here a nice wide variety of some non-fiction and fiction books we're going to tie in. So we've got Egbert, the slightly cracked egg. And then down here, we have a couple more. Chickens aren't the only ones, because when you think of eggs, a lot of people just, oh, it's just chickens. No, it's actually not. And this one is a really good book that ties in all the creatures that lay eggs and their sizes and how that works. We have Pig's Egg. Didn't know pigs could lay eggs, but read it and you'll discover it. And then, of course, we have The Good Egg in the back. That's another good one to read as well. Nonfiction. So the way that I tie in nonfiction is I focus on chickens, but not really. So I have another video here to show you of a way that I tie them in. So in each one of my bowls, I have a real, these are all real eggs. Now they've all been cleaned out, they are hollowed out, and they've been bleached out. But they are all various size eggs, and I'm actually, oh, hang on, go back. Okay, so in my eggs, I have an ostrich egg. You can get those at the Oklahoma City Zoo for like 10 bucks. I have an emu egg from Amazon, goose egg, turkey egg, duck egg, and then of course we have the plain old chicken egg. And if you notice, I have them arranged by size. And what I've done in my classroom is I have the eggs already laying on a table, and the students actually have the Beanie Babies. These are all Beanie Babies that I found at garage sales, thrift stores. The only one that's not is the emu, and you have to order him from Amazon because they didn't make a Beanie Baby emu. And the students have to go up and try to match the Beanie Baby with the egg to try to get them to think about what creature laid which egg. And then we also go into talking about the sizes, the shapes, the colors. Because if you notice, the emu egg is a turquoise color, and that's something that most kids have not seen. So to them, it's like, ooh, ah, and they, really think that's pretty cool. So of course, after they have went up and made their decisions, then we talk about, and I reveal to them which ones are accurate, and we get into that. And that ties into our nonfiction books. So I have books on emus and ostriches, turkeys, ducks, chickens. And down here is a Clifford poster I had found that's a matching poster as well if you don't want to do the Beanie Babies and the eggs. And then also, once again, on the American Egg Board is a writing piece, because we're tying in language arts, and writing is one of those. So they can pick an ostrich, they can write down a couple of facts about an ostrich, and then give me a conclusion about an ostrich. And for older kids, you can get even more, make them give you maybe 4 or 5 facts, give you a paragraph, or give you a paper about eggs. So several different ways that you can tie in eggs with language arts other than just chickens. So try to think out of the box about just other than that. And then if you do want to tie in the chicken piece to it, our wonderful friends at the Soybean Board put on a workshop, have in the past, called Chickadoodle. It's one day, it's typically on a Saturday. You go, they do all kinds of egg activities, and at the very end of the presentation, you get an incubator, a really nice one, and they will give you a chick life cycle. And in this chick life cycle, there are individual eggs that walk you through the life cycle of a chick. Now, I've done this with duck eggs as well, and you kind of can do the same premise to show them what's going on inside the egg, and they love it. They love it. So hopefully this year they will get to do Chickadoodle again, and if they do, I highly recommend that you go and check it out. So the last thing that we saved was science, because most of us think of science when we think of eggs, that, oh yeah, I can hatch eggs and all that, but there's actually more you can do with science as well. So Banks is going to take over that one.
Okay, so I'm going to start out by showing you the American Egg Board. This is what it looks like when you first get onto the American Egg Board. And I always go over here to schools, classroom education, or it's also right here in this part. You can just click on that. And there are so many different things on here for you to do. There are virtual field trips that you can go to different egg farms. There's a video about how eggs get from the farm to the table. There's games that you can look at, recipes to do, lesson plans and materials. And that's where we're going to go to start with. So these activities and experiments, I'm going to show you some of those that are here. And some of the things that we are giving you in our packet come from this site here. And I'm going to start with this egg diagram fill in the blank. So this is one thing that you can do with your students. You can simplify this, and I have simplified it so that, if you want to use it for first graders or kindergartners all the way up to high school, I think you could do with this. So your answers are all down here at the bottom, but you're going to fill in and talk about the different parts of the egg. Now, I would actually use this at a different time than, I wouldn't start with that. I would start with some of the other things that we're going to do, but I just wanted to show you that. And it also has the answer key for you so that if you did not know, you could find the answers there. Now, this eggs journey is really kind of neat because it shows how the egg goes through and gets to your table. And then there's some activities that you can also do with it, with families and whatnot. There is a little egg life cycle downloadable chart as well, depending on how much you want to get into reproduction, what grade level you are with. So that is one area that I go to that I really like with the American Egg Board. Now I'm going to show you some experiments, and I'm going to start with one and then we're going to come back to it. So I don't know if you noticed that you could, one of the experiments we're going to do is a naked egg. And what you're going to do is take white vinegar and put it in a cup. And then you're going to put a raw egg, not cooked, a raw egg, and put it down in there. And you're going to let it sit for about 2 days, day and a half to 2 days. And what you will end up with is a naked egg. So the shell comes off of the egg. And you can see this, you can see the yolk in there. And there's several different ways that you can use this in your science classroom, talking about how different chemicals react, because we've got the calcium carbonate that's on the egg, that is the shell, and then the vinegar, the acid in that is dissolving the covering of the egg. So you can talk about that, what other things might dissolve it. If you wanted to get into that, you could try some different things. Or if you just want to make the naked egg, you can. And it's really neat because it is rubbery. I would bounce it on the table for you, but you wouldn't be able to see that. But it is, you can see how I'm poking down, and it is rubbery. And it's pretty sturdy. I've been messing with this for 2 days. So, and it doesn't smell. Yes, it's been sitting out for now 3 days.
Sharon, how long does it sit in the vinegar for to get that?
1.5 to 2 days.
Okay.
And I take it out and I run it under cold water and kind of help rub off some of the shell. But if you're doing it in the classroom, just let it sit. You can take it out, kind of rub on it, put it back in, and they'll see how it bubbles form almost immediately. And you can talk about that. Now, I also wanted to talk about different eggs because I've been getting my eggs from a friend who has hens. And I'm not getting white eggs. I'm getting brown eggs and green eggs. So even our chicken eggs are different colors. And I've discovered that, well, I'm not really sure exactly why the different colors, if it's feed or if it's, but different not species, different, just lost the word, different kinds of chickens produce different colored eggs. So one friend tells me that it's what color their legs are, and that will determine what color their eggs are. Another friend tells me, no, it's just the breed of, there's the word, the breed of the chicken. So here's a brown egg and here's a green egg. And then this naked egg was actually a brown egg, and it actually took longer to dissolve the shell off than a normal white egg, because I also did a white egg. And it actually took longer for the brown egg shell to dissolve, which I thought was interesting. I did not try a green one, I should have. Now, another thing you can do with the eggs, and I'd like to show this to you, but I can't because I don't know how to turn my camera on my laptop down to the ground or to the table. But if you spin a raw egg, it will wiggle around and wobble. If you spin a hard-boiled egg, it spins really, really nicely. So that's another experiment you can do with your students about that sort of thing. Another thing you can do is we talk about candling the eggs, seeing if there are chicks in there or if there are any sort of problems with the egg. That's what they do when in the egg production. They candle them now on great big tables, not individual people doing it anymore, to see if there are any defects in the egg. Well, you can take your cell phone and you can put the light on and let the kids see if they can see. Now, I've got light on in the room, so it's really hard, and you guys probably can't see this at all, but you can see inside the shell with simply your cell phone light, and you can do it with flashlights as well, but the cell phone seems to be really, really bright.
Sharon, we had
yeah.
a question come in.
Okay.
The white egg you used, was it organic?
No, it was just from the grocery store.
Just from the grocery store?
I think
Okay.
it was a bronze egg. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
And
Okay.
also, Sharon and Michelle, you guys just have about 4 minutes left. So I just wanted to let you know that as
Okay,
well.
I'm gonna really book it then. Okay, so one of the really fun things you can do is talk about osmosis. So you have your naked egg now, and one of the things you want to talk about, it's actually bigger than the regular size of an egg, and that's because the membrane has tiny little holes in it that allow water molecules to come through. And so it's gotten a little bit bigger. So if you talk about osmosis and how some molecules are bigger than others, you can take your naked egg and you can put it into corn syrup. So you just take a glass and put corn syrup in it and put that great big naked egg in. And after about an hour, it's going to look like this. So instead of the naked egg like this, you now have a mushy egg where you can really, really see the yolk. And the neat thing is that after that, if you put it back in water, in a few minutes, that will get big again, about 15 minutes, and that will get big again. So you can talk to your students about those things passing through the membranes and porosity and things like that, which then goes into a lot of other things that you can do. Now, I have made geodes with my eggs, and that is just using borax. So Mule Team borax, okay? And
Is that, don't follow the directions on the American Egg Board site.
Right, because they use alum, which is very, very, very expensive and takes a very long time to make the crystals. Borax, not very expensive. I think that box was $3 or $4, and you will not use the whole thing. So you make a super saturated solution on the stove, and then you take your eggshells, just, eggshells, and I've washed them out, and you put them into a container, or you pour your super saturated solution into a container plastic bucket, like a shoebox, and then you end up after about 2 days with crystals that have formed. Can you guys see that? Not sure if you can see that or not. So you can have these super saturated crystals or these crystals that form on your eggs from that super saturated solution. And this year I used some of the brown eggs as well, and they work too. And so they look like the geodes that are formed in the earth, in rocks, and you can talk about how those super saturated solutions leach into the rocks, and then they form that there. And I think that's all we have time for.
Sharon, did you just say borax and
Yes.
water?
Yes.
Borax and water. That's
All
it.
right, very good.
And we have
Sharon and
that in our
Michelle.
handout as well.
Okay, great. Sharon and Michelle, you guys have shared a lot of great information. We appreciate you so much.